quite a conservative tone being really set.
That's right, Rich. I think if there were any surprises, and there weren't many, it was the fact that they did actually set a GDP target, as you say, of above 6% after, of course, scrapping it last year amid the pandemic and the impact on the economy. It's conservative, as you say, because most economists that we speak to and the surveys suggest that you could be looking at between 7 and above 8% growth for this year. But Bloomberg Economics say, look, this is about signalling that the focus is now on quality growth. They've reiterated that once again this time. Longer term, they want to see quality growth, and they want to get to that point where they're a middling income economy, and they're looking to do that by about 2035 as they try and build out the middle class here. And to get there, you're looking at potentially between 5.5%, 6% growth. So that target aligns with that longer term perspective. In terms of that fiscal response, the monetary policy response, the language didn't change in terms of a prudent monetary policy response. We know that there's going to be more support for SMEs, but they're going to scale back that special issuance bond quota that was put in place last year, 2020, of course, to support local government infrastructure spending. The deficit target, now that came in, it was set at 3.6% last year. They've reduced that target to 3.2% this year, slightly more generous than some economists had expected. Again, in terms of monetary and fiscal policy, reiterating lines that we've heard before. In terms of the relationship between Beijing and the US, they talked about the need to promote trade ties on the basis of mutual respect, Premier Li Keqiang. And in terms of the technology sector, there's been a lot of focus, of course, on the anti-monopoly drive. So there were some lines from this work report suggesting they're going to continue to strengthen those efforts in terms of the anti-monopoly push and continue to crack down on the fintech sector as well. Interestingly, of course, China, in terms of energy and climate change, it set itself this very ambitious goal of being carbon neutral by 2060. So we got a few more details on that. They said, Premier Li Keqiang said they're going to map out a plan this year to reach peak carbon emissions by 2030. And they're also going to be looking to cut carbon emissions per unit of GDP by almost 20% by 2025 is the plan. So trying to double down on those commitments in terms of climate change. He also pointed to risks domestically, globally as well. He talked about local government budget issues. He talked about the need to improve innovation and improve the capacity around innovation to secure longer-term growth. He talked about the challenges around the environment, so they hadn't done enough yet. They need to continue to tackle pollution issues, and you can see that on display today. You've got very high levels of pollution here in Beijing. And then he also pointed to those risks in the global economy.